Well, I think the idea. Well, I mean, first of all, I do think that there were a lot of legitimate complaints that the civil rights movement had against forced segregation, as Wokel puts it. I think a lot of those laws were humiliating. A lot of those laws were cruel, and they needed to be destroyed. And some other order of government needed to be put into place. But by the late 60s, what essentially was being promised to the African American community was full equality of outcome. I mean, we can say that it was equality of opportunity that was promised. That is not what people were looking forward to. People were looking forward to a world where Africans and Europeans of the American variety had roughly an equivalent amount of wealth and were integrated across all institutions without things like affirmative action putting a thumb on the scales. And that's been almost impossible to achieve. Furthermore, as time's gone on, the salience of racial politics has gone up as the country has become more racially diverse, which is also something that you would predict if you looked at all other multiracial societies. Almost all multiracial societies or multiracial democracies have a racial component to their electoral process. That's a very common fixture in places like Lebanon, in places like, you can look all throughout the Middle East where there are multiple ethnicities competing for power. There's very commonly, if not in almost all cases, a racial dynamic to democracies.
How do you impose that in a post-racial society as a Christian? How do you actually start to discriminate based on race after?
I don't think
from
we should.
This point. Okay, so
I don't think we should. I think that the way to the way forward is to essentially allow people to organize their own communities.